Welcome to this month's Quarter Conversation. Quarter Conversations are organized by Hyattsville Aging in Place, Helping Hands University Park, Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park, and Explorations on Aging.
There we go. I'm Michael Cayo Cotter. I am the director and owner of Blue Sky Puppet Theater. I started Blue Sky Puppet Theater in 1974. If my math is correct, that was 48 years ago when I was a spry 26-year-old. I'm going to tell you how I got to that point, and then here's what my plan is today. I plan on giving you a little history of how the company came to where it is, and that may bore you to death, but I kind of like origin stories myself. And then I'm going to do a show for you, and it's really appropriate for little kids, but I just thought you guys would like it, and it's a pretty zany little show. And then what I really want to do is just take questions from everybody, because what you're interested in, I'll turn on the old fog nozzle, all right? Okay, so by the time I was in 8th grade, there was one job that I was never going to do, and that was become a teacher. Because I figured they were just paid to have kids take their neuroses out on them. And so after college, I graduated from the University of Scranton. I grew up in this area, went to Gonzaga High School. And my dad was a teacher of a Catholic U, and my mom was a nurse at Providence Hospital. And I went to the University of Scranton. And after that, I went into the Peace Corps because I believed in it, but also because of the draft, if anybody's old enough to remember that. And so I get into the Peace Corps training program, and I figured I'm going to be building houses, or I'm going to be doing agriculture. And guess what they put me in? That's right, a teacher training program. And so I got up, and this was in the infancy of videotape. They had a reel-to-reel black and white tape deck, and they videoed me doing a class. And I had fun doing it. And so I looked at it later, and I said, I've got no reason to be ashamed or not to stand up in front of people. I'm not going to be a movie star. I'm not going to be an actor, but I've got no reason to be embarrassed to stand up in front of you. So it was that, you'll see how that comes to fruition later on. So after Louisiana, I came back. I taught school down there for 2 years in an elementary school. And then I came back, and I really wanted to build my own home. So I went to Cape May County Vocational School for carpentry and cabinetry. I think I'm the one and only college graduate to ever go to Cape May County Vocational School for carpentry and cabinetry. It was one of the best things I ever did. It showed me that everything is a series of simple steps to follow the laws of physics. And I didn't know anything when I went there, and now I feel pretty handy. So at that time, this was in the early 70s, mid 70s, and if you didn't do something alternative, there was something wrong with you. So what I did was I got in a van with some buddies of mine, and we went around the country playing music and camping. And I ended up in Berkeley at the University of California on the Berkeley campus. And I saw the San Francisco Street Puppet Theater performing on the campus. And it was wonderful. It was like I could see this beautiful co-ed loving the show, and I could see people putting money in the hat. And I went, I can impress girls and make money. I'm still waiting to do that, but one of these days, maybe that'll happen. So I came back to DC with a book full of ideas, and I meet this young woman, and I developed such a crush on this young woman. And she is an actor here in town, and she talks about a love of puppetry. And she keeps looking past me all the time, So I said, well, how am I going to get her to look at me? So I said, I'll start a puppet theater. That'll get her to look at me. And so instead of, I say, if I go to the library and get a book and try to find, I know what's going to happen to Michael Cotter. I'm going to get a headache and I'm never going to do it. And so I said, it's got to come from inside of me. So what do I love? Well, I love jazz. And so I've been living in jazz club, the old Rogan Jar, the Cellar Door, all those places. And so I said, and I'd had this vision of Miles Davis playing into a bank of computers, communicating with outer space. And I said, if I could tell a puppet show story about outer space communication to Earth with jazz, put together a live band and tell the story with the puppet theater, nobody's ever done that before. And folks, it was my first original idea. And because after that, I had to do it. It didn't have anything to do with the one woman after a while. Just like, I got an original idea, I got to do it. So I had to find a composer, And I got Jeremy Young, who had gone to Gonzaga with me, who had a master's in composition from Catholic University. He and his wife, Joanne Stefano Young, became my first partners in 1948. I'll never forget going and pitching them the idea. And Joanne going, I love this idea. We're doing this, Jeremy. And if she hadn't have been so enthusiastic, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you today. So we put together an 8-piece band. We had 5 puppeteers. We had scenic design. I didn't know anything. I was a sociology major in college. I didn't know anything, but I figured, I figured I knew enough artists and people in the community. And here's what I think is very interesting. I was driving up Route 1 one day, right there in Hyattsville. I saw this country and western bar, Mr. J's Cafe, over on the left-hand side. And I went, huh. And so we went in, my girlfriend and I went in there, and it was all the lights were on, and they had a shuffleboard machine. Does that tell you enough? Well, when I got the idea for the puppet show, I decided that I'd do it there. Now, if you know Pyramid Atlantic, the first fifth of Pyramid Atlantic's front is where Mr. J's Cafe was. That's right. I love telling that story to the folks at Pyramid Atlantic. They go, what? I said, yeah, they had a little ballroom back here, which is right over there by those presses. So anyway, I did my first couple of shows there, and it was so much fun. But it was also unmanageable for a 26-year-old, 8-piece band, 5 performers, lighting technician. But it was a gas. But the love I had for the thing was seeing that street show. And so because it was, and that's how I'd make a living for the next 4 years, was going out and doing street shows on the streets of Washington, D.C. And I'm going to show you 2 of the puppets real quickly. So because it was DC, I figured it had to be political, right? And we weren't going to be heavy-handed and left or right. We were just going to make fun of everybody. And here is a puppet. Anybody recognize Ted Kennedy? And here's Jimmy Carter. Oh, get that point right. Yeah. There you go. And so anyway, and like here's an example of one of my favorite shows that we did. It was called The Puppet President. And the puppet president, what we do is we had 8 puppets, and they kept in a rotating thing depending on who was popular. And each one of them would get a minute to tell their campaign jokes, and then a minute to sing their campaign song. And then the audience would elect the new president of the United States from the volume of their approval or disapproval from the ARM, the audience response meter, the ARM. And so like a typical example would be Richard Nixon, who I remember very well. And he would go, in Washington, where things are rotten, some things are best left forgotten. Watergate, missing tapes, are all things of the past. And then he'd always get booed off the stage, and he had a line for that, which was, I'll remember your faces. And then Jimmy Carter, he had a line. One of his jokes was, a lot of people want to know what qualifies me to. I say I ran a nut farm for many years. That qualifies me pretty good. But the reason I'm telling you about this, because it was the greatest training ground for any performer. We would do, my partner Joe Pivick and I would do 10 shows a day. And because people are putting money in the hat, if it's not funny, they walk away. Duh. And if it's funny, they stay. And if it's the next line is funny, they stay. And if the next line is funny, and if they stay to the end, they put money in the hat. And so you're constantly rewriting your material, constantly working with the audience. Some puppet theaters, they'll write a script and they'll pre-record it and put it on, and they do beautiful shows, but the show is stagnant. And my philosophy is, when I've written 75 shows for puppet theater by now, and every time I go to my wife, the beautiful artist, Judith Cayo Cotter, and I say, Judith, I got it right the first time. I know I'm going to take this back to you, but I got it right the first time this time. And then I go do the first show, and she goes, yeah. I go, no, I didn't. My rule of thumb is 75 performances. And then it's kind of like a sculpture. You keep cutting away and cutting away. You keep saying, the old editing thing. If you can say something at 8 words that you were saying with 12 before, say it with 8. And you're constantly working with the audience and editing scenes. Anyway, so that was, so how did I transition from that? A friend of mine said, Michael, there's a job at Radnor Elementary School that you have to take. And I go, what's that? He says, It's being a teacher's aide for teaching drama, art, dance, and music kindergarten through third grade. And I was an experienced teacher. I didn't know anything about drama, art, dance, and music at that time. But I figured I could stay one step ahead of a kindergarten. So I went there, and Jeremy and Joanne and I produced 2 major productions with these kids. But what I found was that I did love teaching and that I had a gift for integrating curriculum into the arts. And that becomes where Blue Sky Puppet Theater ends up. So we're still making our living doing 50. And so, while I'm working at Radnor, Bruce Hutton, who is a local folk musician, comes in because I was kind of the arts liaison. He did 2 shows, and I went up and I was talking to him, and I said, well, "Hey, Bruce, how much you get for these?" He says, well, "I got 100 a quarter for the first one, and 50 for the second, 100 I said, $175. Damn, man, we got to work all day for 100. So I did a mailer for a school show, and the next thing we know, we're doing educational shows. By 1980, my wife and I had our first child, Brianna Cayo Cotter, on the way, and it was like, okay, Michael, you got to make a choice now between the children's theater and the adult theater. It's just not going to work together. And it was also, Michael, you've got to become 50% businessman and 50% artist if you are going to be a responsible adult in this marriage and partnership and fatherhood. And so it became kind of a no-brainer. Like I could have had a very high end with all the adult experimental work we were doing outside of the political stuff, but I probably would have ended up in Des Moines at Thanksgiving because maybe there's 25,000 people in the Washington area who will support adult puppet theater, but then you got to go to Baltimore, then you got to go to Trenton, then you got to go to New York. And, it's like, I didn't want to live on the road and have a family. So we threw ourselves into the educational theater at that time. And for me, our motto was let everybody else do the traditional shows. We're dedicated to writing and performing original scripts and music. And we had a couple of fine art shows, a day in the life, a musical comedy about a day in the life of an opera singer called The Barker of Seville. We had a myth about the discovery of the first woodwind instrument, the flute, called the 11th Finger, which were beautiful, big artistic productions. We had 21-foot stage, revolving backdrops. You can see a lot of this on our website, blueskypuppets.com. But what we found was people were really interested in the educational theater. That's what sold. And 50% business was where I was going with this thing. So our first big educational show was Elementary, My Dear Rufus, which was television stealing the brains of children. We had this big 10-foot parade puppet of a television monster. And so that led to us doing a show on energy conservation called Lights Out and the Bunny Brothers, and recycle, repair, reuse, all that kind of stuff. And it was wonderful. And then we started getting corporate sponsors. We were never a 501(c)(3). We always got customers. We had a nice big contract with Petco for many years doing energy conservation, electrical safety. Then we started working with Maryland Department of Energy, a bunch of other places. We did one of our biggest shows was on drug and alcohol prevention and education. We had 2 shows on that. Now bullying is really big. But one of my favorite stories to tell was 28 years ago, I was up at Woodbridge Elementary School up in Landover. And I love this principal up there, Sally Majak. And I said, this is right in the middle of the crack epidemic. And I said, Sally, I really want to do a show on peaceful conflict resolution. And she goes, oh, I love that idea. And I've got my guidance counselor here who does peer mediation. And I go, oh, I'm really interested in that. So we put our heads together. And then I said, what I'd really like to do is have 12 4th and 5th graders from your kids who are at-risk kids and see what the real conflicts are they have and how they negotiate them. And she said, okay, Michael, I can do that. I can get you a bus and the kids, but I can't pay you. And Jeremy and I were going to work together. We couldn't do it for free. So I go for a walk in my neighborhood here in University Park. And I run into Mike Fuller. I never walk by myself in the neighborhood. I run into Mike Fuller, a neighbor, and I tell him that. And he goes, well, how much do you need? And I said, well, I could do it for $5,000. He says, I'll give you that. It was like my higher power going, and he turns out he was head of addiction programming for Prince George's County Health Department. And then we wrote the show with those kids. Making a long story short, 28 years later, we performed that show for 1.8 million children over 4,000 times up and down the East Coast. We drew a 2.5-hour drive time around Washington, D.C. as a business. As a carpenter, I was, seeing guys driving in from Aberdeen and from Fredericksburg every day. And so I said, well, that's what a man does, So we drew a 2.5, and that was our daily commute. But we also went up to New Jersey. We would do 20 weeks solid in New Jersey. We had New York City, which became a pain. We decided not to do that because third floor loads and parking. And we went down as far, we went through Richmond. So our daily performing was Richmond to Philadelphia, Salisbury to Winchester. So things are going along really great. And 2.5 years ago, I've got a woman lined up to buy the company. I loved her, Catherine Malinowski. She was perfect to do this. And the pandemic blew it out of the water, became useless. And every time that we would start to think things were going to come back, then there'd be a big hole in the calendar and she'd take another teaching job or something. But she had figured out how to do Zooms, being young and techie. And so she taught them to me. The next thing I know, I'm doing a dozen Zooms a week of our repertoire. And we get cold called by somebody to do a children's show. We go, what? And then we said, well, if they want it. So we went back to our mailing list. We have a huge mailing list. We send out 500 email blasts a day with, mail merge in it. Dear Dr. Johnson, Blue Sky Puppeteer wants to come back to University Park this year with our newest show, Pigs in Peril. So anyway, so I started doing all that Zooming, which is why I can do this. And now everybody wants something live again. And half of them and half of them, nobody has a mask. It's like I did 3 shows on Thursday and Friday, and everybody was masked, and it's a pain to be performing a mask. And then I did ones on Tuesday and Wednesday, and nobody was masked. So last week, just to show you how crazy the business is, I did 14 shows in 6 days. Now people say, Michael, why are you doing? I go, well, for one thing, I could get stupid really fast, but this keeps the neurons firing, and I'm good at it. And I love the audience. And also it's really good exercise. My mother's whole side of the family were Illinois farmers. And I can just imagine one of my 5 uncles who were farmers going to a gym and getting on a treadmill. They work. And so I work. And, the money's a bonus, So anyway, that kind of gets me up to where I am. And I want to do a little show for you guys, if that's okay with you guys. Give me a thumbs up if that's okay with you guys. All right. Okay, it's going to take, this is how I start my shows. If you're ready to have a whole lot of fun this afternoon, raise your hand. If you're ready to see a puppet show, raise your other hand. Count backwards from 10 to 0 as your hands come into your laps, and the show will begin. Everybody ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Blue Sky Puppeteer with helping hands proudly presents the incredible, the fabulous, the stupendous, and the totally ridiculous. Let's have a nice round of applause for Rufus, the red-nosed rain dog. Arroo.
Oh, there's kids out there. Hi, everybody. I thought I heard some kids having fun and laughing. Was that you all? Oh, I snuck in over here. Is it okay if I stay here for just a few minutes? Oh, you're the nicest people. I've had the worst luck lately. I got lost from my friend Mr. C 2 weeks ago, Michael. I haven't had anything to eat. I've been stuck out in the rain, but I haven't even got one friend. Will you all be my friend? Well, my name is Rufus. I wish I had some place to stay just until I could find Mr. C. Oh, kids, down over the hill over here. I see a big tree. And in the bottom of the tree is a little house. Kind of like the house that Winnie the Pooh lived in. Maybe if I bark really loud, whoever lives there will hear me barking. They'll know that I've been lost a moment that I've been stuck out in the rain, and they'll let me stay with them. Just until I can find Mr. C again. I don't even know if I can bark for him. So let me try. It wasn't very good, was it? Maybe I need a longer running start. No use. They're gonna find my poor daddy. Wait, you all are my friends, right? Will you guys help me then? Okay, everybody. When I go like this, will you bark for me? And then stop when I stop, so they'll think it's me, okay? Oh, thanks. It's gotta be everybody, it won't work. Everybody, here we go. That wasn't everybody, it's gotta be everybody. Come on, everybody bark for me.
Oh my goodness gracious, what is all this noise up here? Oh, hi everybody, it's me, Dr. Tooth. Everybody say hi, Dr. Tooth.
Hi, Dr. Tooth.
Kids, I thought I heard a little dog out here someplace. Is there a little dog around here somewhere? What? Oh, over here behind this little kitty cat. Out of my way, kitty.
Wait, I'm not a kitty cat. I happen to be a little dog.
Ha ha! That's a good one. Hey everybody, what is this really? A dog! If he was a dog, why wouldn't he bark like one?
Everybody bark for me.
Woof, woof, woof. Oh my goodness! What a big bark!
I'm such a little dog.
Well, my name's Dr. Tooth, and I'm a dentist. Say ah.
Well,
Well, you don't have any teeth. What's your name? What are you doing here?
I got lost with my friend Mr. C 2 weeks ago. I've been stuck out in the rain. Can I stay here with you just until I can find you again, please?
Well, I know you're awfully different. Are you hungry?
I haven't anything to eat in a week.
Well, I got some low sugar dog food over here for you.
I like some kibbles and bits and bits, please.
Kibbles and bits and bits. Let's see, I've got kibbles and bits and bonks.
I don't like bombs.
Neither do I. Kibbles and bugs and bites. Nobody likes bug bites. I know, I was joking. Here's kibbles and bits and bits. Help yourself. No, please don't talk with your mouth. You just did. Oh, right. Kids, what color is this guy Rufus' nose? That's right, red. Everybody knows that dogs are supposed to have purple noses. Purple noses? No way. Yes, away. Would you all like to see my dog's purple nose? Give me a thumbs up if you do. Oh, look at all those thumbs up. All right, Rufus, you sit down there and have all the food you want. And we're going to call my dog up here. Everybody call, here, doggy, doggy, doggy. Here, doggy, doggy, doggy. What do you want? Oh, no. We did not say loggy, loggy, loggy. We said doggy, doggy, doggy. Oh, I got the bark part right, didn't I? Oh, that's fun. Hey, you're a log, right? Yeah. Why don't you split then? Oh, very fun. Okay, kids, let's call my dog again. Everybody call, here, doggy, doggy, doggy. Oh, no. We didn't say froggy, froggy, froggy. We said doggy, doggy, doggy. Oh, well, I'll go back to my pad and croak then. He's going to croak. That's just a noise. He's not going to really croak or anything. Everybody, let's call my dog up here by his name. His name is Bucky. Everybody call, here, Bucky. Hey, you want Dr. Tooth? It's me, Bucky. I want to show the kids what a real dog looks like. Now, what color is Bucky's nose? Right, it's purple. And what color is Bucky's fur coat? It's pink. Now, Rufus's coat is brown, his nose is red. Says he wants to stay here till he can find his friend Michael, Mr. C again.
Well, why don't you put him in the Helping Hands dog school? If he can pass all the lessons, that'll prove he's a real dog.
That's an excellent idea, Bucky. That's what we'll do. We'll put Rufus in the dog school, and if he can pass all the lessons, that'll prove he's a real dog, and then we can let him stay here until he finds his friend Mr. C. Well, everybody, I got to get back down to the filling station. Get it? You help Rufus in any way you can, all right? All right.
Hey, everybody, is this guy Rufus a nice little dog? Is he a kind little dog who would joyously share his stories? Oh, he'll fit in good at the Helping Hands dog school. Come on up, Rufus. Hey, what's your name? My name's Bucky. Dr. Tooth said I should take you down to dog school. Are you ready to go? I guess so. You want to race? Yeah, sure. I love to race. Okay, catch me if you can. Bwam, bwam, bwam. Whoa, I could never run that fast. Oh, I see the school right down that alley. I'll just cut through there. Hey, everybody, I feel so much better now I've had something to eat. Thanks for helping me, everybody. You know, whenever I go someplace, I always like to sing one of my favorite songs along the way. Will you guys help me sing my favorite song? Everybody, here we go. Everybody. Everybody, did Rufus beat me here to the dog school? How'd you do that, Rufus? Well, I don't know. I guess I found a shortcut. Whoa, would you teach me where the shortcut is? Yeah, sure. Right, you'll fit in good here at the dog school. You can find shortcuts and teaching to people. Well, here's your lessons. Good luck. I think he's going to need some fluff with that funny looking red nose. Goodbye, everybody. Funny looking red nose. Do you all think my nose is funny looking? You guys would never say something about somebody just because they look different, would you? No, neither would I. Oh, I don't know any of this stuff. I'm only 4 years old. Mr. C hasn't put me in school yet. Hey, if you guys know any of this stuff, will you help me when the teachers come? Okay, everybody. Oh, I think I hear the first teacher coming. Everybody sit up straight. A wop, bop, do bop, wop, bam, boom, tutti frutti. All Rudy, tutti frutti, all Rudy. Hey, everybody, it's me. It's the geeter with the heat, the boss with the hot sauce, the man with the planets. Ow! The Banana Man. How you all doing today? Fine, fine, super fine, I hope. Hey, everybody, I'm looking for a little dog. You can see a little dog around here? What? Over here behind the blackboard? Oh, over here behind this little gopher. Out of my way, gopher. Wait! I'm not a gopher. I happen to be a little dog. Ha ha! That's good. Hey, everybody, what is it, really? A dog! Just because I look like a banana doesn't mean I was picked yesterday, man. I know a dog when I hear one bark. Everybody bark on me. Oh my goodness! What a big bark! I'm such a little dog. Thanks, everybody. Well, my name is the Banana Man. Give me some skin. Let me know you're in. Right arm. I think that's right arm, everybody. I'm also your teacher. Now I got some letters in the mail and I stamped them up here on the board. The first 5 letters are X, P, Z, T, Y. Right, everybody? Now I'll see, just see if you guys are paying attention. All right, let's all say the first 5 letters of group. B, F, G, R, W. Now let's see if Rufus can sound the matter. How's the B sound, Rufus? Oh, I know how B sounds. Everybody knows that a B sounds like this. No, man, I'm not talking about insect B. I'm talking about the letter B. That's how a B sounds. Beautiful. I didn't think he was going to know that. I honestly did not think he was going to know that. I don't think he's going to get the next one, though. How's the letter F sound? Fantastic, fabulous, and far out. How about the G? How's that sound? Good. You're great, you're grand, you're gorgeous. How about the letter R? How's that sound? Right on, little buddy. And how about that W? How's that sound? Wonderful. Let's have a big hand for Rufus. Wow, you got a lot of friends out there, Rufus. I know they're the nicest people ever, aren't they? Okay, now here are some blends. A-R. How does A-R sound? R. All right. Now, how about O-M? Wait a second, Mr. Banana. That's not an M. That's a W, same as the bar. Right, everybody? What? I almost had the volume turned up too loud on my sunglasses when I read that one. Okay, how does O-W sound? Ow. What did you say, Al, because your bloody nose? No, I stepped on. What, is my nose bleeding? Oh, no, I'll get it all over my new. It's not bleeding. It's all red. Oh, yeah. You see, I was born with a red nose. Is this true, everybody? Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that, little buddy. I tell you what, why don't you go up to the art room here at the Helping Hands Dog School and get yourself some purple paint and paint your nose purple so you fit in with all the other dogs. That's the ticket. Fit in with all the other dogs.
Hey, before I go, everybody say bicycle. Come on, that wasn't everybody. Everybody, come on, everybody say bicycle. Bicycle. Everybody say a wop bop doo bop. A wop bop doo bop. A wop bam boom. A wop bam boom. Tutti frutti. Tutti frutti. All rooted. All rooted. Tutti frutti. Tutti frutti. All rooted. All rooted.
Wow, you guys have teachers like that at your school?
Just one, and I think I know which one too. I bet Rachel is one of them. Let's see. Let's see if I know all these. Let's see. Ow. Hey, this is fun. I bet this is the first step in learning how to read, isn't it? Wouldn't that be so cool if I learned how to read before I saw Mr. C again? He'd be so surprised. I like to be able to read the Berenstain Bear books and the comics. Hey, do you guys think I should go to the art room and get some purple paint and paint my nose purple? I shouldn't have to change to make them like me, should I? Oh, kids, I think I hear the next teacher coming. Everybody sit up straight. On my farm, I have a dragon. E-I-E-I-O. Ah! There's a bear loose from the school. There's an alligator. Oh no, where'd the bear go? Ah! There's a bear loose from the school. I'm not a bear. Really? What are you? I'm a little dog. Ah, a dog. That's right. Everybody. Uh-huh. Everybody. Uh-huh. Would you like us to prove to you that I'm a little dog? How could you possibly do that? Now, if I had a very big bark, then do you believe I was a little dog? Either that or a redwood tree. Yeah, redwood tree would have a lot of bark. Now, if I were you, I'd hold on to that chair right there. Why is that? Because when I bark, it is so powerful that it's like a hurricane. In fact, they were thinking about naming the next hurricane a himicane and calling it Rufus. I doubt this very much. All right, you got a good hold? Got a good hold. Everybody bark for me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Whoa. That was the biggest bark I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm such a little dog, too. Thanks, everybody. Well, my name is Gorgoblast, and I'm a dragon. Really? What are you dragging? Guess I'm dragging my tail, aren't you? Woo-wee. Now, but I'm also your teacher. Now, your name is Rufus, right? Yes, sir. Rufus, could you turn that blackboard around for me? Certainly, but how do you want me to do that? Well, you're supposed to be a smart guy. Use your head. Okay, I'll use my head. Now, that's not exactly what I meant, but I guess that works, doesn't it? Now, these are very important dog words. If Rufus can sound them out and tell us what they mean, that'll prove he's a real dog, and then we can let him stay here until he finds his friend Michael, Mr. C. Okay? Let's all spell the first word with Rufus. Everybody. G-R-R. Let's see. I think I can do this. Let's see. The G would sound good. The R would sound R. To put those two sounds together, I get G-R. Grr. Grr! That's a dog word, grr! Woohoo! I just read for the very first time in my entire life. This is exciting. Okay, but when does a real dog say the dog word grr? Oh, I say grr when there's some bad person giving me a hard time. Grr! Oh, not me. No, I like you. You're very nice. But wait a second. Is that ketchup fingernail polish? It is. Why do you wear ketchup fingernail polish? Do you all like French fries? Yeah, sure. Do you like ketchup on your French fries? Well, my mother always told me to be prepared for anything, and I love ketchup on my French fries, so I keep it right here on my fingers in case I run into some French fries. I never met anybody like you before. Never met anybody like you either. Okay, let's do the next word. Okay, let's straighten that out. Now, A-R-R-F. Let's see, the A-R would sound R, and the F would sound F. So put those two sounds together and get R. That's a dog word, R. Woohoo! But when does the real dog say the dog word, R? Oh, I say R when I want to get fed. That's right, you. And the gravy train starts to roll. Okay, last one. Everybody. B-O-W. W-O-W. See, the B would sound book, the W would owl, the W would book. I got it. What is it? Book, owl, what, owl. Wow, wow. Have any of you all ever heard a dog that said, wow, wow? You're right. Oh, that's Bow Wow. Of course it is. But when does a real dog say the dog word Bow Wow? No, I'm kind of embarrassed. Can I whisper it to you? Yeah, go ahead, whisper. What? Whisper from right there. That's still tickle. Whisper from right there. I say, just say it out loud. I say Bow Wow when I want to take a walk with the French poodle, lives next door. Bow Wow. Oh, Rufus, you old dog, you. He is a dog, everybody. Why didn't you tell me? We told you that. Why didn't I hear? Maybe you got ketchup in your ears, too. Let me look. No, you got a lot of French fries in there, but no ketchup. French fries in my ears! My mother always told me if I didn't wash my ears, I'd grow potatoes. But whoever thought they'd be French fries? Well, Rufus, you passed 100%. I'll tell Dr. Tooth how smart you are. But did you get stuck out in the rain? Oh, certainly did. It's terrible. I got soaking wet. How'd you know that? Well, your coat, it's all brown and muddy looking. Why don't you go to one of these nice stores here in Hyattsville? You go to PG Plaza and get yourself a nice pink coat so you fit in with all the other dogs. Yeah, that's the ticket. Fit in with all the other dogs. Do you guys think I should go and get a pink coat? They shouldn't have to change to make them like me, should I? Mr. C always taught me to be happy to be who I am. Nobody ever made fun of me before. Has anybody ever made fun of any of you guys? It hurts. It hurts differently than when you fall down, but it still hurts. You know, everybody, whenever I fall down, I always like to go outside and howl for a little while. Maybe it would help for her feelings too. Everybody, howl with me. Come on, Carter. Let's go. Everybody howl. I feel better already. Misery loves company. Everybody with feeling. Hey, everybody, was that Rufus howling? Did he pass all of his lessons? Is he a smart little dog? More importantly, is he a kind little dog? Is he the kind of little dog you'd like to take home with you? Well, why don't you take him home? Get him off my hands. I'm just joking. He's a cute little guy, but it's a lot of responsibility taken on him. You got to make sure they get fed twice a day. They go for walks at least 3 times a day. You've got to clean up after their messes. Can't just go off on vacation without them. It's kind of expensive too, but he's a cute little guy, isn't he? You know what I do whenever I have a hard choice to make? I like to go out and talk to flowers. You guys ever talk to a flower? No? Whoa! Oh, here comes one right now. It's Rosie. Woo! Oh, Rosie's afraid you kids are going to pick on her. You wouldn't pick on Rosie, would you? No, these are nice people. No. Besides, you got thorns, Rosie. What's that, Rosie? What, you want me to ask them? Okay, all right. Yeah, Rosie wants me to ask you guys a question. Think of every flower you've ever seen. Is every flower just the same? Well, they're all different, aren't they? What do you suppose Rosie's talking about? Rufus! In fact, what? In fact, every rose is a little bit different. Well, I don't understand. Rufus being different? I don't get it. Oh, here comes Sonny. She always brightens my day. Everybody say, hi, yes, Sonny. Oh, yeah. Yeah, what's that? Oh, you want me to have them repeat that? All right, okay. Well, the second thing, I don't know if they can handle that. They're pretty old. Okay, let's try it. Okay, everybody repeat after me. We're all different. Include everyone. What's that saying? A couple of people didn't do it, did they? They think that we can't see them and can't hear them. Come on, people. Everybody repeat after us and say, we're all different. Include everyone. Are you happy now, Sonny? Okay. All right. Oh, no. Here come the wildflowers. They like to tickle my belly button, but not today they won't. Oh, I'm getting out of here. Woo! Oh, my God. Woo! Oh, oh, ah! Get out of here. Oh, kids, the wildflower said that Rufus should be allowed to stay here with us. But if he does, he needs a new job and a new nickname. We're going to call him Rufus the Red-Nosed Rain Dog. Can you all say that? Rufus the Red-Nosed Rain Dog. Come on, Cammy, you didn't say it. Everybody. Rufus the Red-Nosed Rain Dog. And don't forget to tell him that we're all, we're what? Oh, different. That's right. And we should include everyone. Oh, I don't see him anywhere. I hope he didn't go out on Route 1. or East West Highway, that'd be even worse. Everybody called Rufus. Oh, he's nowhere to be seen. Everybody called Rufus. What do you want? Oh, he's gone. I'll never see him again. He's what? Is he right behind me? Is he trying to play a little trick on me? He doesn't understand how fast Doc Tooth is. Watch this. I'm going to turn around and put the catchy message. Rufus! There's no little dog behind me. Or the other way? Okay, here we go. Rufus! If there were a dog behind me, I hear him barking like one. Everybody barks on me. Woo! 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 Oh, Rufus! Well, that was everybody out there barking. That's right, they're my friends. You got a lot of nice friends. Rufus, you can stay here with us. I can, but I thought because, No. Everybody, let's tell Rufus what we learned about being different. We're all different. And we should include everyone. That includes you, Rufus. Oh, boy, that's great. Doc, and everybody, let's tell Rufus his new nickname. Rufus, the red-nosed rain dog. Well, I know I got a red nose, but why am I a rain dog? Because you're going to be in charge of all the other dogs who are lost and lonely, stuck out in the rain. You're going to bring them back here and take care of them. Helping Hands Dog School. That'll shake up Carter a bunch of stray dogs. Well, I got to get going. I apologize. Even adults can learn how. We got to be including everybody. Before I go, everybody say, ah. Oh, you have beautiful teeth. Make sure you brush them tonight and floss, or you'll meet me at the filling station. Get it? Filling station. Boy, he was really nice, wasn't he? This started off in one of the worst days of my whole life. And now it's one of the best. I got all kinds of new friends. I got a really nice place to stay. And I sort of learned how to read. Isn't it funny the way things work out sometimes? Hey, will you guys help me? You can look for other kids. You can look for friends in the neighborhood who don't have any friends. That's what Helping Hands is all about, isn't it? Helping out. Finding somebody who needs some help and helping them. Boy, what a great organization. And never say something about something that doesn't look different. Oh, hey, Bucky, what's up? Dr. Tooth said I could go with you and be your helper. Oh, boy, Bucky, that's great news. Sorry about what I said about your nose. It wasn't nice. I wasn't thinking. Oh, thanks for saying that. Hey, you want to go look for some lost and lonely dogs? Sure do. You want to sing our song? Sure do. But, Bucky, let's get going. Everybody, help us sing. Here we go. Can we have a nice round of applause for Mr. C, the puppeteer, right over here? Woo. Oh, thanks, everybody. What's that? Rufus was here? What? Here he comes up the driveway. Oh, Rufus, I got you back. Oh, did everybody help? All right, good. Okay, Rufus, why don't you, there's something for you to eat over there. Why don't you go have a little break? Okay, everybody, I don't know. I got started on that and I couldn't figure out where to stop it. That's a show that we perform for 3 through 6-year-olds, as you could probably tell. It plays up to 7s and 8s, but mainly it's like a early childhood show, 3rd through 3, pre-K through 1st grade, 2nd grade. Our primary market has always been K through 6, K through 5, with big educational shows in the elementary schools, because that's wherever the audience is. You can have 2 shows, morning and afternoon, 350 kids each time. Most elementary schools are 500 kids, and that's where our heart and soul is too, in these big educational shows, which are about peaceful conflict resolution, saving the planet, drug and alcohol prevention, education. The weird thing is that's how we made our living for 45 years, but the pandemic has blown that out of the water. Nobody wants to have 350 kids in the same room. And so now I'm doing all these solo shows like Rufus, but it's fun. So it's just going with what's happening. So I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do the questions, because I would love to answer some questions and just see what everybody's interested in. I was supposed to talk about the 5 different kinds of puppetry. So one kind is hand puppets. And the second kind, where everybody go like this, go hand puppets. The next kind is the kind that has strings. Everybody go like this, go marionettes. And the third kind is shadow puppets, where you have a cutout and a bright light rig of shadows. And the next time is a tabletop kind of thing, where you have dolls that you work on a table. But the kind that I've been using for the last 48 years have all been rod puppets. So he's got one rod for his body. He's got a ring to move his mouth. Not all of our puppets have moving mouths. But part of my thinking was, did I really want to be 50 years old and standing around like this, my arms up in the air all the time? And I went, no. And so we now have rod puppets. So you can just stand here and have them over top of your head. And also, you can stick them in the prop bar. And you can have, in one show we did at Elementary My Dear Rufus, we had 11 puppets on the stage at one time. We had 6 of them in a rack, and then 3 of them in a rack, and they could all individually move their mouths and all move. And that kind of brings me to one of the things that I really love is working in the shop and building stuff. And so building this rack and doing all that. That having been said, I consider myself a producer. I'm a good enough musician to know who the really good ones are. And I bring them in and they write the music and they record it and they arrange it and drop us off with CDs or the old days, reel-to-reel tape. I'm a good enough visual artist to know who the really good ones are, and I hire them. I'm a good enough puppet maker to know who the really good ones are, like Ingrid Crapo in this area who runs Dino Rock, and particularly Don Becker. And if you live in University Park or in this area, you've seen these big tree sculptures. Those are all Don Becker. I've had the great blessing of working with him for 35 years, and he builds these fantastic miniature marionettes. If you go to dbpuppets.com, you'll see some of his little marionette stuff. He builds puppets for us. He also does these chainsaw sculptures, and he also makes these incredible automatons where you wind them and they pop. There's a great exhibit down at the American Visionary Museum. If you've never been there, go. In that second building, they have a whole display of automatons, and Don's really good at that. I lost my train of thought. Oh, producer. And I'm also a good enough actor to know who the really good ones are. And so, we have an audition script where there's like one sentence from 21 character voices that we do. And, I've done that audition script maybe 100 times. And I recently had this young woman come in, and she was 19 at the time. And I got to tell you, this kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Every one of the 21 voices she did was better than any one that I did. It was like, damn, girl. Anyway, Kiki Afontis is now, she's supposed to be doing a show at 5:30 at Vienna, town of Vienna, if it doesn't rain. So we regularly hire people and looking for people. So I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do the question and answer. I know that Carter is a co-host. I don't know whether you guys can raise your hand, and I'll go to keep stepping off, and I can see from my gallery view. If you raise your hand, I can open up your, hi, Cammie. And so anybody who has something they want to ask, and I'll just unmute you. Okay, here we go. Leslie, I'm going to unmute you. Let's see. Ask to unmute. Now you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much. This is fabulous. I worked for Marriott Corporation in the 1980s. Marriott had a relationship with National Theater. And my question is, how did you get to National Theater? And how was it to change your show? Well, did you have to change your show for such a large space compared to
actually, it's
smaller
a great
schools?
question. They had a program called the Saturday Morning Program.
Right.
And in the upstairs lounge where there was a bar, they had a theater, they had a stage there, and we would set up. Kathleen Berry ran that place, and she was just so enthusiastic. And, once you get in and do a good show, they keep bringing you back. So we would do 1 or 2 shows every year, and they would have a repertoire of like 8 or 10 performers.
Right.
And so luckily they had an elevator because you're up on the second floor. You get down there about 8:30 and park on the street. They're on 13th Street, and take the elevator up and load into the Helen Hayes Gallery. That's what it was.
Right.
And then you do a show, and they would bring in, 75 to 100 kids and adults. And it was really great. It kind of went its way with the pandemic. We haven't been back there for 3 years. but we performed with that for like 30 years. It was a wonderful program. And thanks so much to the Marriott Corporation for sponsoring it. She always gave everybody a big, hey, let's have a big round of applause for Marriott for helping sponsor this. Yeah, that was a really great corporate sponsorship.
Thank
Who
you
else
so
is
much.
next? Yeah, who's next? Okay, I put you guys to sleep. That's what it is. Come on. Oh, I gotta give a big shout out to Cammie Clow. Now, I guess it's maybe 15 years ago. She was working with the Smithsonian American History Museum, right? And she recommended us to be part of their Price of Freedom exhibit, and it was a big, encompassing show on military action that the United States was involved in. And they approached me, and she turned me over to somebody who was really my contact person, but it never would have happened without Cammie. And they wanted to have a Punch and Judy show about the American Revolution with the Boston Tea Party, that era. And I've seen Punch and Judy performed about 20 times, and twice I thought it was interesting. The rest of it was like, come on. It's just a dumb show. And so I said, no, but how about if we write something in a puppetry style like that? And so the idea was we'd have a revolving stage with animatronic characters on it. And so the first scene would be this very trim looking governor and a really well-dressed revolutionary age woman in a apartment, a house in Boston. And they would be talking very amicably about what was going on. And then they would drink tea and everything. It was pretty cool animatronics. And then it would turn, and then she would be a little shabbier dressed, and then he would be, bigger and fatter and kind of grosser. And then he's starting to oppress her in the second one. And then turns the third time, and now he's big and gross and fat, and she's wearing rags, and he's telling her what to do, and she goes, no more. And then she takes the table and turns the table over on him. And it was like, I forget what the dialogue was exactly, but it turns the tables on the British. And it was so exciting to be involved in that big project. And I think the animatronics didn't work after a while, which was none of my fault. And so you just see one scene, but it's still up at the Smithsonian, the first scene, and some written dialogue. So it looks like a puppet show. And originally it worked. But Cammie, thank you. It's like, I love being able to tell people, I got an exhibit in an American History Museum, Smithsonian. And Don Becker built all the puppets. If you go to my website, blueskypuppets.com, right in the front thing, there's a list of some of the other things we do. And there's a link there to the Smithsonian exhibit. And you can see the beautiful work Don Becker did in building this real big, fat, ugly British governor. So, all right, thank you, Cammie. Without you, and I think without Cammie, I never would have met Sally Ann Rogers, too. Okay, have we kind of run our length here, Carter? I'm happy to stay until I fall on the floor. Nobody's got a question?
Cammie's, I think, has her hand up. I believe that's who that is.
Say that again?
I believe there is somebody who has a hand up. I don't know if that's...
I think that's just a picture of Karen Brown.
I have a question.
Okay.
Which one?
Michael?
Yeah, go ahead. Who is it?
Okay.
I can't hear anymore.
She just got muted. Let's see. Asked to unmute.
Mary Alice is there. Hi, Mary Alice. Oh, man, she was at the original Blue Suede Zoo at Mr. J's Cafe. No way. Oh, man, they were the earliest support 48 years ago, May 24th, 1974. There was no bigger fans and supporters of the arts than Mary Alice Amuda and Jerry Luddy, her husband. Mm-hmm. Man, they were there at that first one, man. There's not too many of us around anymore. So come on. I'm sorry we got muted. Who wanted to ask that question?
Okay. All right, your mic is open.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to add a thank you back that Larry's dog, Alfred, who was half eagle and half shepherd, on his 10th birthday, you came and did an Alfred for President puppet show in front of Larry's store book sales in College Park.
I remember that day very well.
And it was very clever. He was going to line all the hallways in the White House with newspaper and have treats in every room. And it was very good.
Yeah, that was one of, I loved being able to do stuff like that. And just as a little side note, when we moved in, I've always been in this area. And our first home was on Taylor Road in Riverdale. And we lived there from 1980 to 1990. Then the school situation was a little off-putting. And so we moved into University Park. And in order to introduce ourselves to the neighborhood, we started this thing called Pigs in Peril. And there was this really famous puppet company in Italy called Matteo Brothers. And I saw them, let me just digress for a minute. In 1980, the World Puppet Festival came to Washington, D.C. And we were lucky enough to volunteer to be house managers. We were broke, we wouldn't have gone to the thing. And it was adult companies from all over the world came, and it blew everybody's mind in the puppet community. Everybody thought, well, puppets are the Muppets and Jim Henson and Koopa Fran and Ollie, and I'm blanking on her name, but the blonde-haired woman, and all of a sudden you saw that this is an adult puppet theater experience, and companies from Czechoslovakia, Drac, and from the Netherlands, from Japan and Brazil, doing the most sophisticated theaters. And so one of them was the Matteo brothers from Sicily, and they had come from Sicily, and they were moved into Brooklyn, and they were electrical contractors, and they had this warehouse and they had their theater set up, and they had all these. I'm sure if you Google this, you'll come up. They had these big puppets that were all knights in shining armor and things, and it would be a soap opera or a serial. And every Monday night or whatever, everybody, and they were famous for crashing and chopping off heads and throwing beet juice on the ground. So when we moved into the neighborhood, we said, well, let's do a serial. So we started this thing called Pigs in Peril, and so we'd set up in the driveway at the end of our street and at the end of our lawn, and then the pigs, we had the three pigs, and they would be in peril. And Richard Nixon was always the bad guy. And at the end of every Monday night at 7:00, we'd do this show, and then we'd scramble to write a new one. And so at the end, the pigs would be in some desperate situation, like going over Niagara Falls or going through a buzzsaw or something. And Richard Nixon would go, ha ha, I got those pigs this time. And then at the start of the next show, they'd get out of it through their cleverness or something. And then he'd come on and find they'd gotten out. He goes, I'll get those pigs. It was the last thing I do. And, it was such a great community thing. It was like the Alfred thing, it was just like, it was so much fun. I'll never forget the first show we ever did. We put a ton of work in to get the first one ready. And it was 5 to 7 and nobody was there. We're going, oh, no. And then I see this kid, Parker Sims. If you live in this neighborhood, you know the Sims family. He comes running down the street. And within 5 minutes, there was 50 people in our yard. And it was so much fun. But my favorite thing of the whole time was one day we had this wire that we strung from all the way up to the top of the yard down to the stage. And I came up with this plane, like a paper plane, but it was pretty elaborate, on the wire, and it ran down the wire by gravity. And so the pigs are in the plane, and they're coming down the thing. And my son, Tristan, who was maybe 10 at the time or 8 at the time, he's hiding in the bushes. And the pigs start saying, oh man, I gotta, and all you hear is the voice. You don't see pigs, you see the plane coming over the crowd. But man, I gotta go to the bathroom. Well, we don't have a bathroom on this plane. Well, just pee at the door. But nobody will care. No, what difference does it make? And so he goes, okay. And he starts relieving himself at the door, and Tristan's in the weeds, in the bushes with a squirt gun. Oh, God. Anyway, That was fun. And you can see, you know, I like doing stuff like that. Okay. I hope I didn't offend anyone with that story.
You
Okay.
also did a lot of Halloween things.
Oh, Halloween. Yeah. So we were an adult company. We started as an adult company. And it was like, you know, and then, but then I love the children's theater. We became that. So every Halloween, we go back to our adult roots for a Halloween show. And for years, it was in our backyard, our back patio. And then about 10 years or 12 years ago, I built a shop, and now it's inside where we had really nice lighting. And it's a tabletop show. Everything is blacked out. Everything in my shop rolls out into the driveway. And one of the really great things, my wife Judith runs the house, and there's like 50 to 75 people waiting in line all night. Everybody performer likes that, having people waiting in line to get to see you. And it's a nasty little bit of business. And we won't let anybody 8 or under in at all. So I'm going to tell you, and every year we try to make it worse than the year before. And it's beautifully produced. It's tabletop. All the performers are all blacked out. They have black hoods and black gloves, and you can't see them, and on a black table. And we have really great sound effects and great lighting effects and fall, you know, everything. We just go all out every year for this thing. And my company, the performers are like ridiculously talented, you know. There's like one guy, Barry Gordimer, is a world-class puppet builder who's also senior producer for NPR Morning Edition. Don Becker's one of the puppeteers. You know, Jan Johns, a classic voiceover Disney artist, is one of the, you know, everybody just comes together for one night. And so I'm going to tell you the story of the one show that we top every year. So it starts off with this beautiful puppet woman, and she talks to the audience and says, "You look at me and you can see I have everything. I'm beautiful. I'm talented. I have a beautiful voice. I play music. I'm a wonderful visual artist. Women like me, men really like me. You think I have everything. I don't have a man bothering me. I'm all my own. That's the way I want it. You know nothing." Turns out that she's a witch, that in order to remain this, you know, live forever and remain this beauty, she has to have a child of her own that she consumes on Halloween on a full moon. So she has to figure this out. You know, she has to plan ahead 6 years from the full moon and so it's been going along pretty good for 150 years. But then she goes, "I've made a terrible mistake this year. I love this child. I'm not going to hurt this child." So we see her dealing with the child and reading a little book with the child, and she's a loving parent. And the kid goes off, and she chains herself to the bed. And she says, "I won't hurt this child. I will not do it this time." And so there's a metaphor for all the insecurities all of us had as parents, that some character flaw we had might hurt our kids. So she's in there wrestling, and the kid comes up to the bed, and the full moon comes out, and there's growling and barking and everything. And the kid comes up to her bed, "Mommy, what's the matter, Mommy?" And she's thrashing around under the covers. "Can I get in bed with you?" And the crowd goes, "Don't get in bed with him." And then all of a sudden she pulls back the covers, and actually she's transformed into this hideous witch. And she falls on the kid and, you know, and kills him, and the little lifeless body floats up in the air. And then the lights go out, and we go, and then I do a voiceover in the dark. I go, "Tonight, as you're counting your precious little M&Ms, jujubes, just ask yourself one question. How well do you know your parents?" So every year we had to kind of top that one. So it's a horror show. It's Halloween, people. And so and every 4 years we do like a political horror show where anyway, you get the idea. So we have not been able to do it for the last 2.5 years because of the pandemic. And we're kind of losing our steam on it, but if everything loosens up, we'll come back this year. So get in line. We're the White House on the corner of Beechwood and Van Buren, Blue Sky Puppet Theater. We're on Google Maps and everything. Just come on by. And here's what I tell everybody. We start at 7. Don't come until 8:15 or 8:20. because we're making it up as we go along for those first 5 or 6 shows. We don't really care about rehearsing so much. But by 8:30, the last 2 shows, we know what we're doing by then. Okay, I'm about worn out. I want to give Carter a big salute. Thank you, Carter, for all the work you do for this kind of a program, and thank you for inviting me to be it. And if you guys have any questions for me personally, just email me. Go to Blue Sky Puppets and send me an email, and I'll happily get back to you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
so much, Michael. We really appreciate it. And on behalf of Hyattsville Aging in Place, Helping Hands University Park, Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park, and Explorations on Aging, thank you, everybody, for coming out to Quarter Conversations. And hope you've enjoyed it. And keep an eye on the Hyattsville Aging in Place website. We will be announcing some additional sessions shortly. So thank you, everybody. And thank you very, very much, Michael. This has been awesome.